Hey MGTOWs, I hope you're having as good a Saturday as I've enjoyed, and hope you're having a good weekend. I've just come back from a little groceries trip, and I went to my teriyaki place that was near the condo where I used to live, and I have never found its equal, and it's way out of my way. So, man, it's so good that a friend of mine would always say, "Man, they must put crack in this." They do a good job down there. Just thought I would mention that I'm currently experimenting with a program called Tribbler, and I will be sure to link to it. And what it is, it shows some promise of being able to sort of well, if not replace YouTube, it could certainly help. It doesn't have a messaging capability the way YouTube does. You can't comment on videos or files. But I'll tell you, if YouTube pulls the rug out from under me on my channel and decides to ban me or something, my Tribbler files will still be available on the Tribbler network. Now, the Tribbler network uses something similar to Tor to give people anonymity if they want it, and you can select at the expense of having a slower file transfer. You can select for anonymity if you want. I don't do that. I actually opened a channel that I call Invention MGTOW, and not much imagination, I know, but and I'm now in the process of moving my some of my videos over and seeding them on the torrent network. And if anybody downloads the Tribbler program, they should be able to search for and locate my channel, and then put my channel into their favorites, and then they can see it. And if my channel disappears, I'll probably end up posting a video about it on Tribbler, and then if anybody wanted to mirror it, you could probably mirror it on YouTube. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a link to Tribbler in there, and I think it's a really really cool thing. I mean, it's a really cool piece of software. It's open source, created by a bunch of geeky revolutionaries who are angry about censorship and government overshoot of its authority that it doesn't even have. The Federal Reserve, the IRS, all that crap. So they are taking action. They're not as hardcore as Anonymous or whatever, but they do all right. So then they got a fine piece of software here. No comments on the videos. I mean, you can't comment saying, "Hey, that's great," or thumbs up or anything, but you can certainly transfer the files, and you can search for files, and and not just MGTOW content. You can search for quite a bit of stuff out there. It's everything that's on these torrent networks, like Pirate Bay and such, is more or less accessible through this software. And if you did find a torrent file somewhere and you wanted to load it using this Tribbler software, you could paste the URL to the torrent file, and then you could download it into Tribbler. And the cool thing about it is that if somebody downloads one of my movies or videos, and then somebody searches for it and then finds it and basically queues it to download, they'll be downloading from both me and from the other person who downloaded it, even if they only downloaded 10% at a time. It can just really end up giving you a faster download speed even than YouTube can. And this is totally decentralized, doesn't have any centralized servers at all, and the only centralized server there is the website where you download the file, and the other website where they do open source modifications of the software, like they do what they call pull requests to add a feature, and then people submit code to make it basically they modify their version, and then they try to put the submit it, and then if whoever's in charge of Tribbler, I can't remember who, if he wants, he can then make a new version of Tribbler including that code and including that feature. So it's a pretty darn cool thing, and it's not a substitute by any means for YouTube. YouTube is just a freaking astounding and amazing thing, even though it can be damn totalitarian at times, and our channels can be nuked, almost without warning. But the cool thing about it is, with Tribbler, if you want to include like an actual music score or something without having a freaking music lawyer tell you if it's safe or not, well, you can just load it onto Tribbler, and then basically post the torrent. Probably you could post the torrent file on YouTube, but I'm not sure. But you could say search for or find it on Tribbler, and you could then have a link to it in that way. But I highly encourage anybody who wants to download Tribbler and test it out. And if you want, you can create a channel of your own for your own MGTOW content and any other content which you have decided to save, like something that's really spectacular. You could save that to your Tribbler channel. But I'm not an expert on this yet. But from what I've seen, I've only been messing with it for like a day, but I am very impressed. So I highly recommend you download the Tribbler and then add my channel as one of your favorite channels, and that will be cool. I'd like to see this tested out. I want to see some uploads here. I'm not worried about my IP address or anything because I'm surfing through a proxy server anyway, so I don't have it's. I mean, I'm sure Google could send whoever right to my house, but I would prefer not to drop my identity like that. Other things. Recently, I have been. Recently, there was this big fluctuation in bitcoins due to what happened in Greece. Let me see if I can show you. This is silver right here. There is. Okay. Back last month, bitcoins really ramped up due to all the panic in Greece, and it went up and up and up, and then it just went freaking nuts and went over 300, and then dropped back down again. And then as Greece left the immediate news cycle, the enthusiasm wore off, and it started falling back down to its previous levels. But then right here, as you can see right there, there was this big, huge argument in Bitcoin about block sizes and how big the block size should be, and IP address blacklisting to prevent like what do they call it? Denial of service attacks. So basically, what they went ahead. Two guys went ahead and released a version of the software, even though he didn't really get any kind of consensus. And then there's this big, huge civil war in Bitcoin, and it caused the price to drop way down. And then when the price was dropping, there are some overly optimistic people who just got, you know, greedy, and they were holding bitcoins in margin accounts and having the margin maxed out, and then when the price dropped, their account couldn't sustain it, and then bitcoins were forcibly sold from their account, causing to cover the margin, and then basically it caused an even greater crash, and then it dropped down to, like, man, 225 or smaller, 221, and I happened to be there and ready at the time, so I checked my bank balance and bought 2.6 more bitcoins at $225 each. You see, I have this little rule. What I do, I have holdings that are roughly the same for both bitcoins and good old-fashioned clinking metallic silver. And what I did was I basically just, every time the first paycheck of the month rolls around, right, I look at my holdings for silver and holdings for bitcoin and determine which portfolio is lower, and then I purchase the one that's low. And last month I bought only silver, and this month, because of this big huge crash, I bought only bitcoins. So I ended up getting like 4, and man, it looks good on my my Bitcoin account to see so many freaking bitcoins. I'm doing pretty good. So but next month it could turn around and start fluctuating back up again, if we have like another thing in the, you know, near Greece, one of the other countries start having banking problems, or Greece decides to execute a bail-in and steal money out of people's bank accounts and retirement accounts, like they did in Argentina a few years ago, about 3 years ago. The government of Argentina stole everybody's fucking money, and that's just freaking wrong, man. That's an abuse of power, just insane abuse of power. When they just reach out and say, "I'm taking that money, fuck you," man, that is just an obscenity. So anyway, this month I just purchased bitcoins, and hopefully next month bitcoins will pop back up again, and I can purchase a little bit more silver. I like to go down to the coin shop and buy, if you buy like a couple $100 at least, you can get these brand new Sunshine Mint silver rounds for like $1.65 over spot. And if we have like this massive currency crash that everybody's talking about, well, I'll still have the same number of bitcoins, and I'll still have the same amount of silver. So, one last thing I should probably cover. I was watching a video from a guy named David Seaman the other day. See if I can find him. But anyway, he was interviewing this rather attractive young woman, and they were talking about relationships and dating, amongst other things. Here we go. Yeah, that's the girl right there. Oh, that's David Seaman, and that's. Anyway, that the girl was, and they were talking about how they were sort of lamenting about the divorce rate, and then they were talking about how any kind of alternatives to marriage, right? and David came up with the thought of a temporary marriage, like a 4-year contract that expires, and then basically it causes both parties to, keep up appearances and not treat each other like shit. And then if the contract is going well and the relationship's going well, they can like re-up and basically do another 4 years if they wanted to. And this girl right here, her name is Tiffany, and she was saying that that she thinks that an open marriage would be a good alternative. And man, I had to comment on that because, it was just, she just doesn't, Mate takes part in MGTOW. He joined in too and registered his opinion as well. But anyway, this is ridiculous. She doesn't even consider for a second how how such an arrangement would be such a negative thing for a guy, and she only looks at it from her perspective. But basically, she wants to like have a domestic thing and maybe a family, but she wants to be free to go ride the cock carousel, basically. And in a situation like that, a woman's ability to dig up new partners and have sex with a wide number of people, it is just like night and day, insanely beyond imbalanced. A woman can freaking just, she can hardly even avoid not even being, if she's halfway attractive like her, she can't hardly avoid getting such opportunities, whereas a guy, man, we've got to work for those opportunities. Especially at their age. They're both in their 20s, I think. And if you are that young, the sexual availability for young women in that age group is just beyond insanely more abundant than it is for a guy. So she would be in the relationship and she would be able to go fuck around and get all of her sexual needs met while the guy is still at home paying the bills, because generally women don't marry a guy who's at her level financially anyway. So he's paying the lion's share of everything, and then she's all satisfied sexually when she comes home. But for him to find another partner, it's not easy. It's not nearly as easy as it is for her. So chances are he's going to be sexually frustrated, and she'll already be satisfied, so it'll be just like a chore to satisfy his needs, and she'll start, she'll probably be feeling, why don't you go get your needs met somewhere else? Your needs are not my problem, and basically she just doesn't seem to understand that it's such a lopsided, that would be such a lopsided deal. I wouldn't get anywhere near that. You'd end up being totally frustrated sexually, and she'd be sleeping around, and you'd be paying for everything until you finally either sabotaged the relationship or exited yourself. And then the state would turn around and turn you into an indentured servant, and you'd be paying anyway. But man, and she just didn't seem to even begin to give that even a moment's consideration, if that would be fair to the guy or not. So what that means to me is that she just sees guys as a freaking appliance. She doesn't consider his emotional needs, his how well he is treated in a situation like that. And so, man, I am not very positive on her for future relationships if she can't even make the mental stretch of picturing herself in somebody else's shoes. So I just thought I would throw that out there. And I'm going to upload this video to YouTube, but I think I'm also going to seed it on Tribbler and see if anybody can download this. So that'll be cool. So I hope somebody downloads the software. I'll link to it, and then favorites my channel, and then I'll have a backup for YouTube just in case YouTube yanks the rug out from under me, like they did with Mayor of MGTOW a few weeks ago. So okay, well, that's about it. I guess I'll let you go. Oh, I'm not on this, so I'm on the cell phone later.